Welcome to Ear Biscuits, the podcast where two lifelong friends talk about life for a long time. I'm Rhett.
And I'm Link. This week at the Round Table of Dim Lighting, we are fielding your pressing questions and having what is sure to be a fun-loving conversation.
Maybe pressing your fielding questions. You remember Field and Stream, the magazine?
I remember the cover. It's not like I
You
ever
didn't get it?
subscribed to it.
For some reason, I would get it occasionally.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so you weren't a subscriber, but you would randomly get it.
I would like buy it off of the shelf.
It was.
I don't know why, because I was like, I like fields and I like streams.
It's fishing and
hunting and fishing, and I did that as a kid.
We're gonna answer questions including, would we be friends if we met as adults? How long should you wait before you honk at someone who's not going in front of you on a green light?
Those are two different questions.
Oh, but they're very much related. I don't know how.
Was there a magazine that you would pick up off of the shelf?
Magazine that I would pick up. Entertainment Weekly. That was the magazine.
As a child?
As a middle schooler and maybe even a high schooler.
You know my brother subscribed to Sports Illustrated.
Oh, yeah.
And
you're gonna talk about the swimsuit issue, aren't you?
The swimsuit issue.
If you bring up Sports Illustrated,
yeah. Speaking of Field and Stream.
I distinctly remember you showing up to school.
I brought it to school?
No, you didn't bring it, but you brought a report about it. And not for class,
well,
just for me.
I don't know exactly what my parents were.
My brother got the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue.
I don't know what year the swimsuit
issue
all the
issues.
Came out first.
That's the only one you talked about.
I don't know which one came out first. I don't know the first year of the swimsuit issue, but I guess that's irrelevant.
When it first came out, it was illustrated. Like all the sports were illustrated.
And even the swimsuit issue
was
illustrated.
So it
doesn't have the same effect.
Yeah, it was basically like a coloring book.
I remember
which we have one of those now.
One
Spoiler alert.
Kathy Ireland on it. She now sells like home goods. She has like a line at Target.
Yeah, that the math adds up for that.
Man. Well, I don't partake of the swimsuit issue. I don't anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm like aware of it in the way that you're aware of it on the internet, and you're like, oh,
it was a big deal.
This woman is on the front. Everybody knows who's on the front. But back in the day, it was like, well, of course I'm going to spend some time on the front, but I'm going in, and I'm going to spend way too much time.
Well, did you take it in secret? Yeah, like, did Cole know you were taking it from his room? Your parents certainly didn't know that he had it.
No, they did, because my mom would get the mail. And I think it was, again, I'm just going off of pure conjecture at this point, but my mom is the one who collected the mail. And I think that she may have just made the decision, well, he subscribes to this.
That doesn't seem like, given the environment and the amount of oversight, well, maybe oversight's not the right word.
But it was just a woman in a bikini. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't porn.
But it seems scandalous to us.
Oh yeah.
To have it. Like I wouldn't be caught dead looking at it in the aisle of the shortstop. That'd be embarrassing.
Well, there's more embarrassing things than that.
Well, certainly. But I just think that we had a little bit too much. I had a little bit too much shame. Still do, apparently.
Yeah, that's ding ding ding. No, just kidding.
But
we've all got shame.
A lot of them, you could see more than a bathing suit should show.
Well, especially back in the day.
Back in the day.
That's just like everybody. Your teacher wears that kind of bathing suit now. You know?
On her TikTok account. Do teachers have TikTok now? I don't even want to know.
Yeah, teacher TikTok. It's a whole section.
Teacher talk. I took a trip to Joshua Tree. Look at me, man. I come back from Zion, and then like weeks later,
back from the desert.
Here I am, going back to another national park desert location. Did you know that Joshua Tree did not become a national park until 1994?
Yeah, after the U2 album. That's what sent the government over the edge.
Bill Clinton was like, I've got to get this place taken care of.
We got to protect this place. We got to protect this place. Really do.
I had a conversation with Bono. This is how I had a conversation with Bono. He finally returned my calls when I said I was going to make Joshua Tree National Park. So he called me back, and Edge was in the background.
What year was that album released?
I don't know. I am not a U2 fan. You know that. Our friend Mike took you to a U2 concert.
Yeah. I respect, I respect U2.
We have very similar tastes in music, and I think the reason why we don't like U2 or haven't gotten into U2, it's like, yeah, it's more about us than it is about U2.
Really?
I think
I think it's about you too. It's not about me.
It's a little, because just like.
It's a little too rocky
for
us.
Rocky.
A little too rocky.
Yeah.
We like a little more soul.
Even when it gets pensive, it's still a little too rocky.
Yeah.
For us.
There's something about that, and we never connected with just pure rock.
Never got into
Always
it.
felt like it wasn't for us. It's like rap, yeah. Country,
yeah.
Soul, yeah. Rock, Southern rock, yeah. Rock,
classic rock, yeah, but like
some classic rock, yeah. CCR.
But getting into that U2, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's people who would try to. I'm pretty sure there's a Joshua Tree on the
cover.
Album.
People will try to find it.
Yeah, and that's not.
You can't
happening.
because you've seen one Joshua Tree, you've seen them all.
Well, they're all different. It's like a snowflake.
They're just like snowflakes, I know. But it never snows where Joshua trees are, which is the mind-blowing thing.
Also not true, I don't think. You can have some snow at Joshua Tree. It's where it's like a high desert and a lower desert meet. And these Joshua trees are finicky.
Certain elevation.
And they're very specific. Cause even when we would like do a off-roading or overlanding trip, like when we went to Death Valley for like those 3 or 4 nights, I remember we'd go into this one valley or like crest this hill. It was only in one place. And we were in this like expansive valley, and you lose perspective when you're driving through Death Valley about what altitude you're at, what elevation you're at. You're not flying, but what elevation you're at,
If you got a good spoiler.
Sometimes you might think, we've been in this valley for a long time, and then you round another corner and there's just like, it was just an inlet to a much more huge valley, right? Because everything gets so expansive. But I remember coming around over one ridge, and all of a sudden it was just Joshua trees everywhere. And we've been driving for a couple of days, and it was only in this one place at this one altitude. But Joshua Tree's special because there's so many there at that particular, I keep meaning to say elevation.
Did you go to the, I can't remember the name of it, but there's a forest of a certain type of cactus that you can walk through?
No.
And it's like incredibly densely, like it's the kind of thing that if like you are playing around and you push your friend, they would get a bunch of needles in them. Like you have to watch where you're walking, but it's just,
Did you go there?
Yeah, I've been there twice now. It's
but to this particular place
it's one of the stops off of the main road if you're going through Joshua Tree.
I haven't, but that is a thing.
It's called the so-and-so forest, and it's just these cacti.
I didn't even see.
That are like this tall. It's pretty remarkable. It's the most.
You should have told me that a week ago.
It's the most unlike the rest of Joshua Tree, but it's not as cool as the rest of Joshua Tree. So you're not missing much, but it's just unusual.
The thing about Joshua Tree, you're right. There's basically one paved road that goes through Joshua Tree. There's some offshoots, but not many.
It's pretty Disney-esque in that way.
Yeah, and so you'll go to one parking lot, and then you'll take like the loop trail with whatever rock features are associated with that, and then you'll get back in the car and you'll drive to another place. So we had the kids. It was just a family excursion. And we stayed in an Airbnb. We didn't, too many people for a van. That's the problem I'm having. I'm still obsessing about this van life on Instagram, but Instagramming my family into a van is a bit much. We have one too many kids.
What about van life meets trailer life? So it's a van and you haul a trailer and the kids are in the trailer, a windowless trailer behind you.
I mean, Lily's getting to the age that she's going off on her own. I'm just thinking that she's just not part of the equation. If I were to get one of these vans, it would be like, take a kid or two, take a wife or two, but not take everybody at once.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
I mean, I could take Christy and Jessie is what I'm saying.
Okay, well, Jessie likes to do things on her own.
With me and Christy? You're saying Jessie likes to do things without you.
She can do whatever she wants, man. You know what? We give each other lots of freedom.
Something about your response rings of a reprimand that you've gotten from Jessie about something you've talked about.
No, I'm just joking.
Okay.
She went on a solo trip that she really enjoyed. You know? Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of our thing now. We just go on separate trips.
Yeah, you alternate.
Yeah.
Whose weekend is it to be away from the other person? This is her first too.
Just once, you know, just a like maybe annual little trip. Each person gets their, because I feel like if only one person in the couple is on, in fact, we were asked this question in the AMA on the Mythical Society today.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking, how do I talk my significant other into
letting me
going
go
on a solo trip? And I was like, I didn't have to worry about that because Jessie and I were both making the decision to prioritize a solo trip independently at the same time.
Yeah, so the answer is
you got to both be on
get them
board.
to go on one first.
And they have to see it as not being about them, but being about you. You know, the solo
What do
trip.
you mean?
The solo trip has nothing to do with me getting away from Jessie. The solo trip has everything to do with me having time with myself and her having time with herself so we can come back and be better people in general, which benefits the other person and the rest of the family.
How's that going, by the way?
The benefiting of the other people?
No, are you a better person? Is it worn off?
I would say, you know, I think it's Paula Abdul. I think I Paula Abdul it.
1 step forward, 2 steps back?
I thought it was 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Did she say 1 step forward and 2 steps back?
2 steps forward, 2 steps. I think it's 2 and 2. Now that I don't know.
Then what the hell is Paula doing?
Opposites attract.
She's taking 2 steps forward and the other person's taking 2 steps
It
back.
ain't fiction, it's a natural fact. 2 step forward.
So she wasn't even talking about the same thing that I'm talking about. I'm talking about making forward progress and then regressing
But
and then
not as
being
much.
like, oh, I feel like I'm in a better place in some respects. So not like Paula Abdul, like a song that I can't come up with right now in which I'm glad you asked the question because I talked to my therapist right when I got back from the trip and what we talked about was how you take this moment that you had and then entering back into normal life, normal life wants to undo everything. It wants to drag you back into its normalcy and your routines and your habits and the way that you see the world by default. And so that has been a struggle because it's been weeks now since I got back. So, but I expected that. I didn't go in thinking that I was gonna come back a completely different person. I was like, it's about the journey, man. It's about incremental change in the right direction. That's all I can hope for.
The thing that I did, I mean, it wasn't a solo trip, but the trip with Christy was very special when we went to Utah. I came back and I was actually talking to my therapist about it, and then one of the things that he said was, he suggested that I make a photo album.
Oh, scrapbook.
You know, well, all of my photos are in Google Photos.
Did he use the term scrapbook?
No, I just put them into you can order a hard or soft back. Apple did it first.
Always go hard.
And now Google does it, and I went hard.
Yeah.
And I surprised Christy with it just so we could have something physical where it's like memorialize the occasion. And I put some funny captions in there like on that one campsite. It was like, you selling hot dogs? That kind of thing.
Just brings back the right kind of memories.
I don't think we would have forgotten that.
Yeah.
But side note, Google Photos books suck ass.
Compared to Apple's?
Compared to Apple. And so next time I would download, they altered all of my photos. They tried to enhance them.
Google did?
Yeah, Google's trying to saturate my photos. My photos are the way I want my photos. Don't apply some general saturation to everything that you're printing to where it's like.
If anything, you need to desaturate.
Just leave it. I want it. I took the picture. If I wanted to edit it, I would have done that. I'm not a dummy. And I'm pretty sure that next time I'm just gonna download them all from Google and I'm gonna upload them to Apple just to do that, even though I don't keep my stuff. I have a Mac. I use Google Photos.
Well, now you run into a problem here.
But I'll tell you this one story from going to Joshua Tree. We got an Airbnb. It was this place, it was a 30-minute drive from the entrance to Joshua Tree, like north of a place called Pioneer Town, which they filmed some stuff there. They have like a makeshift Western town, and I think Ice Cube shot a music video there. How does that add up? I don't know. Anyway, so we're out there, and the booklet for the Airbnb, they just tell you what to do and what not to do, and if you bring a dog, you better put him on a sheet on the couch and that kind of stuff. And they said, out of respect for our neighbors, and this house was in the middle of like this desert valley. We arrived at night, and I couldn't tell if there were any other houses around for reasons I'll get into. But they weren't that close. It's like the neighbors weren't that close. The next morning I could tell. And the reason why is because of what they said in the booklet. Out of respect for the neighbors, only use outside lighting when absolutely necessary. And then turn off your lights so that it decreases light pollution to help with stargazing.
People are out here in the desert to see the stars.
And I'm real tuned into that ever since the last trip, And it was a big selling point. They had a hot tub out there in the middle of the backyard.
Oh,
just like,
nice.
And then you get in the hot tub and you just lean back and you look at this expansive sky and see what I schooled Lily on was the Milky Way. So like that first night, they had flashlights so that, because you can't turn the lights off once you get in the hot tub. You got to turn them off from the house and then like walk out and try not to trip on the Joshua Tree and the cacti and the rocks and stuff. And so you're using your flashlight, you're getting out there, and we turn off the lights in the hot tub too. So like it's very black. And we're looking up at the stars, and boy, we're having a good old time. And all of a sudden, Lando goes, "Oh," and we're like, "What?" And he was like, "I just tasted something. It tasted like sausage." And I said, and we're like, "What?" And Lando is the type that Lando's a very reactionary kid. Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
He's particular about things. He's a bit queer, kind of like me, meaning that I don't want to have to re-explain what that means, but it just means particular. So we didn't want to say, "Dude, there is no sausage floating in this pool." He had put his mouth down at the surface level of the water, and he got something in his mouth and he said,
I thought he had burped and was tasting dinner again.
No, we had not had sausage that night or the day before. He had put his mouth down at the water and gotten something in his mouth that he said tasted like sausage. And we didn't want to alarm him. But from before I'd turned the light off, I was the first one out there with Lincoln, and Lincoln was like, "You need to get these bugs out of the hot tub." And I didn't want to tell him that I was pretty sure, because I didn't get the bugs out. There was only 2 of them.
Now there's only 1 of them.
I didn't want to tell him, "Dude, I think you ate a bug," or worse. So as far as I know, as far as he knows, he ate a sausage, because the way that he said it, I just got some in my mouth that tastes like sausage. I could tell by the way he said it.
It was probably a moth.
That he did eat it.
It was probably a moth.
He
and
chewed it up.
I could imagine.
Tasted it, experienced the sensation of sausage.
Why would he chew it?
And then I don't know.
I think he just got it in his mouth.
And then
I think it came in with a gulp of water or something.
Well, I think he swallowed it. And he didn't, and he was like, He said it in a way that was like, I just got some in my mouth.
Is this sausage water? Is it that sausage water in this hot tub?
So I'm telling you more than I'm telling him, but he ate something that I'm afraid is not sausage.
Oh, you haven't talked to him about it?
Nuh-uh.
Even days later?
We would make fun of it's like, man, this tastes like sausage for a lot of things for the rest of the weekend.
He didn't put it together.
But, so mission accomplished, he never freaked out, but I do not know exactly what he ate.
It was definitely a bug, because I can, having eaten lots of bugs,
sausage-like bug.
I can imagine, especially an uncooked bug. At least, I guess it's parboiled because it's in the
lot of chemicals
It's in the hot
there.
tub, but yeah, I could totally. It's got a little spice to it and you can't quite reconcile, so you just go with sausage. I get it. Well, I'll tell him next time I see him.
Oh my God. I was just glad he didn't freak out.
Yeah, because if you had told him that he just ate a bug, it may have ruined your
Ruined
night.
the evening, yeah. It wouldn't have been about the stars anymore. Sometimes the truth is not worth.
Yeah, I only tell the truth when it's convenient for me. Now, let's answer some of these questions, but first, let's just let you know about something that we are very, very excited about. We don't have a copy of it here, right?
As of the recording, it's still being printed, but
we know what it looks like though.
This is a high quality product. It's a coloring book for adults and adult children.
If you've been paying attention to the evolution of culture over the past decade or so,
colors.
Everybody's coloring now. You don't have to be a child anymore. And we have basically taken the world of mythicality and some of your favorite things that you have experienced through the world of mythicality and translated them into these incredibly intricate illustrations that then you can colorize. Just what Google did to Link's photos. You can saturate these.
Yeah.
But that's actually the point.
To your own liking. You're in complete control. A lot of hidden gems in there, a lot of pages. Went through a lot of that. Had a lot of notes. You know me, I like to give a lot of notes on illustrations that involve us and our characters and our mythical crew and our past and our future. Mythical.com, grab yourself the one, the only official mythical coloring book.
Okay, let's start
what you want to do
with a question from Kane's cab driver. Bud Ice, y'all.
Okay. At Bud Ice, y'all.
Okay. What's the proper amount of time to honk at somebody when the light turns green and they don't go? I give them a 5-second courtesy, but my wife gives them 3 seconds.
Oh, but they're both timing. Now, I can't say that I have an immediate answer. I'm gonna have to arrive at something because they've talked about it and are like in a constant count. I just can't live that way.
I go on feel.
Yeah,
I go on feel.
You go on feel. I think it's, yeah, because I mean, if you're gonna do a count, then you're obligating yourself to do a count every time. And then most of the time you're wasting all this energy counting on someone who's gonna go before you get to 3 seconds. Certainly before, I mean, if it's 2 seconds, you're not gonna honk, but that's 2 seconds of counting in order to, it's not, I just don't like the spirit of counting, believing that someone's not gonna go. That's believing the worst in somebody. I like to believe the best in people. So philosophically, I don't like this, and I also don't like it practically because I'm sitting there counting when I should be focused on driving.
In any given 10 scenarios where this happened, 10 times, and let's just say the person doesn't go, and it's in the first 3 to 5 seconds, whatever, how many times are you going to beep? Okay, let's say somebody goes 5 seconds, just based on your experience, 10 times, how many times will you beep in that scenario? I'm saying beep, honk, whatever your term is.
First of all, I think 3 is too short. I think 5 is courteous, but I'm actually adding a check into the cab if I can see that they're looking down at something, probably their phone.
That's the only thing I go on.
Then it's 5 seconds, like waiting long enough at a green light to make me look in the cab and determine that they're not looking at the light is however long that takes, that's when I'm honking.
When I feel like they need me to honk is when I honk. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
At that point, it's not that I'm giving you a courtesy by waiting to honk. I'm giving you a courtesy by honking because I'm saying, hey bro, the light turned green. I don't hate you.
How's your new
It's just, we're all in this together.
For like the friendly tap honk when you're just like, boop, boop, boop. How's your new car do with that? Have you done the friendly tap honk?
I typically only do I can't remember the last time I did the lay on the horn thing.
I did one coming back from Joshua Tree.
Really?
Yeah, there was some merging situation and I knew from my GPS that we were about to hit some traffic. And somebody's just, I'm slowing down and then all of a sudden I'm barreling in there, like getting in between me and the guy in front of me, even though there's a line of like 5 miles of bumper to bumper traffic. It made that much of a difference to get in front of me instead of behind me. And I laid on and it was this long. That long.
That's pretty offensive. I'm a pretty reluctant honker because I feel like the vast majority of honks that people hear are not intended for them and freak them out because that's what's happened. That's what happens to me all the time. It's like, who are you honking at me? And then I'm like, oh, they weren't honking at me. But like, now I'm not paying attention to driving. I'm thinking about who honked at me.
I'm wondering how many accidents are a result of an errant honk.
So I never do the lay it on the horn unless, I'm not saying I've never done it, but I have to be like, this person just did something that endangered my life or someone else's life. And at that point, I'm gonna honk.
I think I felt that.
Cutting in front of me, it's like, you may piss me off, but I try not to get too worked up about that. But I haven't, but the other reason I'm a little bit reluctant to honk with the new car is that it has this feature where
that's the gas too.
You can hook up an external hard drive to the car. What? And it will capture your dash cam footage, and every time you honk, it records the last 10 minutes are automatically put onto the hard drive. So
every time you honk.
So the idea is, if you were about to be in an accident and you honk the horn, well, or if something just happened, you can honk the horn. You're not thinking straight. You don't have to like go into the menu and hit record. You just honk the horn, and that takes the last 10 minutes of action that the dash cam has captured and puts it onto the hard drive.
Because why not?
I mean, who knows? Somebody cut in front of you, you're in an accident, insurance stuff, whatever. But because I'm adding like footage to a hard drive when I honk,
you don't
it's like this extra thing to consider. Like, do I want to record this?
Well, the car doesn't get heavier.
No, I know. It's like
oh my God, the car's going slower.
It's like a 500 gig hard drive. It's not that big of a deal, but it feels like I'm making. It's like the fact that
it seems like something I would think. I'm surprised that
you won't run the air conditioning on high because you think it's going to break the air conditioning. Like you told me that one time. Like, don't put it on high now. It's not made to go on high.
The max AC button.
You don't like max AC?
Yeah.
I'll do max AC all day long.
Yeah.
But the beeping of the horn to record the things.
You've created a file.
Yeah, I don't want to create a file unless it's absolutely necessary.
Well, it's like when you hand your phone to somebody to take a picture. Again, while we're doing the park thing. And like one family member's taking the picture. And I'm like, hey, just frame it up, decide, and then take one or two.
One or two, huh?
Don't take 5 or 10 because when they hand it back, what's the first thing I do? I look at what you got and I delete the 4 to 9 that I don't like.
That's what the live photo feature on the iPhone's for, though. I've got that setting on my default. So if somebody blinked, it's still one file. I could just go back to where they didn't blink.
But then if you hand your phone to somebody, they don't know that that's on, and then they're taking more photos, and then that bothers me.
Huh. You don't like burst mode, I assume.
Oh God, I hate burst mode.
Okay, so
we're agreeing.
We don't think that there's a time limit. We think you should go on feel and sort of like take into account the environment on this. But 3 seconds is too short. Your wife is jumping the gun. I feel confident in that.
Your car also has a dog mode.
Yeah.
So Tesla has a dog mode. Have you tried dog mode? Put Barbara in the car? What does that
Barbara
do,
has been in the, when you put the car into dog mode, you can leave your dog in the car and it will
tell it where to go.
Like send it to
go to Ralph's, get me some half and half.
It will, this is a parked car, not a moving car. You leave your dog in a parked car. It does 2 things. The first thing it does is it keeps the ambient temperature in the cabin something that won't kill your dog. And the second thing it does is when somebody comes up to your car, it senses that somebody's at your car and it puts a message on the giant display in the middle that says, I'm okay, my owner will be right back. So in other words, don't call the pet cops. I'm fine.
I bet you people who care enough to call won't believe that sign.
But you can kind of hear that the car is on when a dog's in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done it.
First of all, your car runs all the time.
Well, only if you put it in that mode.
If I go out to the parking lot, your car is like running.
Only if it's in, it has a special feature where if the cabin gets too hot, it'll cool it down.
That's cool.
But it was so hot one day in the middle of the summer
Oh yeah.
that it burned like 60 miles off of the battery just to keep it from being like 100.
So you deactivated that.
Yeah.
So you haven't done dog mode, and there's a sign that comes up that says, "Don't, just stay out of my business. My dog is fine. This is the Tesla."
Yeah, my owner is coming back.
Well,
I
of
haven't
course
used it. We've never.
Because dog lovers,
We don't really leave.
dog lovers they'll get in that business, and I guess rightfully so, because people.
We don't leave Barbara in the car. We take Barbara in the car if we're going someplace that Barbara is supposed to get out with us.
Yeah.
But we don't just like, she's not an accessory that we just like throw in the car and then go into a grocery store or something like that.
Yeah.
So we really haven't had an occasion to use it. And also, the people who come up to your car, they're being recorded. This is a cool feature. I'm sure this is available on other cars, but the reason that there's a hard drive that you can attach to the car is that you put it in Sentry mode. I'm not trying to do an ad for Tesla at this point, but it kind of is turning into that. But you put it in a Sentry mode, and what that does is anybody who like comes up to your car, opens their door into your door, it records them and then puts that on the hard drive. So if you're like, who busted this dent in my car? Oh, this guy in this car with this license plate.
Mm. See, I'm a fan of having cameras everywhere. Like,
Big Brother,
that was my favorite thing about London. I mean, when we got in traffic, and all of a sudden, I was like, Chrissy, what are you looking at on your phone? She was like, well, I felt like I left the oven on at home.
Mm.
And I'm looking back at our camera.
To see if it's burning.
Because I got a camera in our kitchen.
But you probably can't
tell. I don't know why.
It is a heat sensing camera because it's not gonna be able to tell if the oven's on.
No, she said, okay, I'm going back here. Here I am,
Oh,
turning the oven,
she's gonna go back.
getting the stuff out of the oven. And then she could actually zoom in, and the way the camera's set up, she could zoom in enough on the oven to see that it is turned off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
HD, huh?
it's got an oven cam.
Okay, I'm very interested in this question from Omni Draws. If you both didn't know each other and saw each other for the first time in life, then would you talk with each other or even enjoy each other? You both aren't YouTubers, just two regular guys.
Okay, we're just two regular guys. We're not YouTubers. Well, first of all, as Kiko pointed out, this is Buddy System Season 2.
This is the premise for the season.
So if you haven't watched Buddy System, check it out. There's a song in every episode. You know,
And you can watch it for free now.
There's us acting.
You
Yeah,
can watch it all for free.
It's all free on YouTube.
It's all free.
So Buddy System Season 2 has nothing to do with Season 1. If you don't like Season 1, Season 2 is better. And you don't need to have watched Season 1 or to have liked Season 1 to like Season 2.
Correct.
Man, we meet
Here's
for
how
the first time.
Here's how I evaluate this, right?
But I don't know.
On paper, there's a lot that would be working in our favor to be friends. Assuming, okay, both from the South, similar music taste, things that are just true about us, that they may be true about us because we grew up together, but just assuming in the same way that on that episode of GMM where we like pictured the same color when we smelled, we have a lot in common in that way. But there's a balancing factor, and that is me and you both have a tendency to kind of come into a social scene, and I'm not talking about like a industry party. We did a whole episode on that about how you kind of are. I'm going to go up to people and talk to them, and I kind of like you go do that. But in a like a friend of friends type party situation, I kind of feel like I bring a little bit too much of a critical eye into those situations where I'm not like, I don't go into those situations thinking everyone here is a potential friend. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
and I kind of feel like based on the conversations that we've had, like after we've gone to places together, that you approach things in a similar way.
Yeah, I think I do. I think there's a couple of factors here. It's hard to remove the fact that like we have such a strong friendship that whenever we enter those situations and evaluate why we're acting the way we're acting, one factor is we don't have a strong felt need to make friends with people. I mean, we're busy and we have each other. I mean, and we each have other friends. We share a bunch of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, there's some that's like, okay, maybe you have more of a connection to this person than me or vice versa. But then it's like, so there's not really a felt need beyond that to keep adding people, because the second thing is neither one of us at this phase of our life are extroverts. We're both more introverted. And I actually think we may feel more introverted than we actually are because of the previous reason. You know, I do get energized by talking to the people that like I enjoy being around, and like the friends that I'm closest with, and you know, I miss your game night since COVID, that like, because that was a place where like our larger circle of friends, we would hang out, and like I'm missing that. But if you take COVID out of the situation too, I'm just not looking to make new friends at all.
Right.
So but if you
you
remove that, if you remove all of that,
so
I think we might sense what might be like, oh, I could be friends with this guy, that we could pick up on some of the things you're talking about, like, oh, I got a similar, like, I think we have a similar vibe, right? Like if we still have like our looks about us and our wits about us.
And I don't think it's a friend-making vibe.
I think
that's my premise.
I think it might backfire. I think it might be the type of thing that's like, okay, we're operating in a similar circle. This
very self-aware.
It's like this is what's the saying? It's not too many cooks in the kitchen, but kind of like that. It's like this town isn't big enough for the both of us. I think it's what we might sense. So it's just like, I'm not gonna talk to that guy.
I feel like that. You know what? I feel like my mentality on that has changed a little bit. Okay, so this is just think about this with taking North Carolina and then taking Los Angeles and contrasting the two. So Los Angeles is filled with people who think they're the shit, right? And in a lot of ways may have been the shit at some point in their life where they lived somewhere else, and then they moved to Los Angeles. So you got all these ambitious people who kind of consider themselves, or they have a disposition to be famous, which already makes you a certain kind of person.
Yeah.
Now again, whether we like it or not, we both have a disposition to want to be well known, right? It's one of the reasons that we do what we do. And that's a certain kind of person.
Is this what I'm supposed to say, speak for yourself?
Yeah. And I think that it's almost, if we met in North Carolina, and I don't think we bring that kind of energy into a room. You don't bring that kind of energy, I don't bring that kind of energy. In fact, I kind of don't want people to know like what it is I do or my back. Like I kind of prefer entering into a conversation with people not knowing the deal, right? Like knowing, okay, yeah, I have a YouTube thing and now I have to explain it or whatever. So I don't bring that kind of energy, but I have changed the way I feel about that. Like I kind of look beyond that, because sometimes you'll like go to a party and there's somebody who's like a huge personality and they're like, all of a sudden there's a crowd around them. I try not to get intimidated or turned off by that, because I feel like it can happen really easily in Los Angeles. But you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't be like that. And I don't think I would be like that. So I don't necessarily
Yeah, I think we would both be quieter. I think it would be the type of thing where it's like, that guy looks interesting and he's not being loud.
But
so I think I would strike up a conversation with this tall guy who needs to be groomed.
But you might not know. Okay, because I get this a lot. My wife, people who are friends with my wife my wife is like, she can make friends with like a can of beans, right? Like she's bubbly and she is super like honest and like vulnerable with people right when she meets them. And so like us being in a relationship, like we have a way of making friends with people, because people are gonna really gravitate towards my wife, and she's gonna seem open, and she's great at talking to people, right?
So are you saying that you get people's first impression of you through her relaying it?
No, what I'm saying is that in contrast to her, a lot of times people who are her friends will say, yeah, I thought that Rhett didn't like me.
That's what I'm saying.
For the first year that you were friends.
Yeah, maybe you didn't.
And again, I'm not trying to step into this, but I feel like I don't consider either of us a particularly warm person upon first meeting, in the way that our wives, I think, are both more warm.
Yeah.
In the way, so sometimes it could be interpreted the wrong way and you might be like, this guy doesn't like me.
Because in that type of setting, I'm just not, again, I go back to the motivation. I'm just not motivated to do the work, like, because it's work to connect with somebody and it's a big risk. I just think, you know, it's a lot of work to get to know somebody. And then you may not connect. Then you're just starting over. It's kind of like every time you get to a light that turns green, you start counting. You know, it's like, that's a lot of work to count.
But I believe in the end, the thing that, when we get to know new people, I feel like the thing that, for better or for worse, the thing that I'm looking for is, I'm not looking for it, but I'm kind of looking to not be annoyed by the person, right? Well, and if all of a sudden it's like, ooh, no, there's a personality thing about them or the way that they're presenting themselves, that I could see that getting old quick. And I think this isn't a super conscious process, but I think that's what's happening as you get to know people. And I think that as different as we are, and again, this is probably because we've known each other forever and we've molded each other in a certain way, but assuming that we would essentially be the same person apart, I think that in a normal conversation, we would not annoy each other.
No.
and so
yeah,
I actually think that
I think our first the end of our first conversation would not be that far from any conversation that we would have.
But neither of us are instigators when it comes to like, hey, do you want to go play golf? Or it's like what guys ask each other. Basically, when guys want to be friends and they want to be friends with each other and not friends as couples. A lot of times,
just what are you gonna do?
Your significant other, in my case, Jesse, will be the one who's like coordinates the next time that the couples get together. And it's like, well, do you like him and do you like her? But if it's just two guys, and then like what would step 2 be? Like, let's get together and play pool. You know, it's like, neither one of us have that in our like bag of tricks. Like, again, we're super busy. I think a lot of times we'll be like, hey, let's get together and talk about this idea. Well, like we'll do it, it's like a project-based thing, but we just don't hang that much.
Because like what you said at the beginning was something about we like the same type of music, like the things that what would be the opening conversation? First of all, I do think that I would probably, you know, I'd be like, hey, I'm in a good mood. I'm at this place. I'm gonna talk to somebody, but who am I gonna talk to? I need, you know, what maximizes my chances in conversation to like connect with somebody. So I will look for somebody who looks a little interesting, and it's like, okay, this, you know, that is the thing that I've enjoyed about LA is like you can go to some get together and there's all these people that like you can judge them on the surface and think that like that person looks weird or interesting or
everybody has taken more than the average amount of time to present themselves in a certain way. Like, yeah, people have honed people have honed their way that they present themselves. And again, nothing against North Carolina, and it might mean people are more sane, but like, yeah, I mean, especially where we come from, you go to a party, it's like all the dudes are gonna be like kind of dressed in a similar, like they're gonna be on the same part of the spectrum.
Sexual spectrum.
Not talking about that. I'm talking about the clothing spectrum. It's like all these guys went to the same section of the mall. All these guys go to the same kind of barber. You know what I'm saying?
Because it's not a town of
people are showing off.
I'm gonna be benevolent here, expressing themselves, you know, visually. Anyway,
there's just not as much of that.
I think what would happen is I would initiate a conversation. I'd be like, I just don't know what I would say. I would, you know, if you mentioned music, if music was playing, I'd probably say something about the music.
I hate rock. What about you?
Is this U2? I'm not really into
U2. Yeah, I respect them, but I like. I would like a little more soul. You been to Joshua Tree? Yeah, you know Joshua trees only grow at like certain elevations. Yeah. And sometimes people try to find the one from that U2 album.
But then it wouldn't be like, hey, let's get together and listen to music. You gotta be a close friend to say that.
This is the most interesting question
and you
for
end
me.
up talking about
What's the next step in our relationship in this world
right, because then it's like, here's what we would do. The easiest things to talk about, first of all, it's like, what do you do for a living? And we've already ruled that out. We can't talk about that. So we might talk about music. You end up talking about shows you're watching.
I think we'd have a great conversation
about shows.
and then we would never talk again. I'm beginning to form a picture of what this, it would be like, yeah, I remember that Link guy, met at that party, like a really interesting conversation. Like, I wonder what he's up to, but I didn't get his number. I'm not gonna call him. And what would I do if I called him? He didn't want to go play golf with me.
Right.
And we're not gonna sit down and just have coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really think, I guess what it is, I don't know what it's like to be.
Sitting down and having coffee could work. But that is a vulnerable move. I mean, that's asking a guy out on a date.
Right.
It's like, hey, you wanna meet up for coffee?
This is a question, hashtag ear biscuits for everybody listening, because as guys who've been married to the same women for 2 decades, who grew up together, who have a pretty solid friend group, like there hasn't been, outside of like work related stuff, there just hasn't been many of us like, what's the next step in a platonic relationship with somebody? After you get, it's like, I feel like I'm asking a fundamental question because I don't have to worry about it.
And I know that a lot of people, we fielded so many questions over the years. You talk about friendship, a lot of people ask that question to us. Like, do you have any advice for making friends? It's like, I think what we're saying is, it's never easy, but you're in a social situation, and then you just find somebody that you size up that you feel like is kind of like you, unless you've really made a decision to find someone who you, just by judging them externally, that they're not like you. That's a sad thing, is that.
Well, I think I would say you're looking for a point of connection.
Point of connection.
When you say like you, there's some kind of point of connection. Doesn't necessarily mean this person looks like you or is from your background.
Yeah, like if they're making the same face, like they're judging this get together as much as I am.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go stand beside them and judge it too.
Yeah, I don't know what we learned about each other in exploring that question, but it was.
I think you said we'd be ships passing in the night.
We'd have a great conversation, but it would take something that I can't.
It would take our wives exchanging numbers
to become friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, so we don't have to worry about that because we are friends.
But you know what? If I had a felt need for a friend, I'd be like, I'd probably say something awkward like, "Hey man, I really like you. Let's hang out."
I think I would be.
I don't have any close friends here.
I think I would be ready
if you have close friends,
too.
Maybe you can introduce me to them. Maybe I like them better than I like you. Can I use you as a way to meet your friends? I'm just joking. Can we get coffee? That's exactly what I would say.
Right.
It would be a self-deprecating, vulnerable exchange.
Yeah.
Tearless.
I definitely would not, if I wanted friends, I wouldn't let that situation happen. I'd be like, hey, because I guess there have been times in my life when I've met somebody that I connected with and I was like, let me get your number. Really? I don't know if yeah.
You're thinking of an instance?
I could say I've done that like 3 to 5 times in my life.
I was thinking of like our mutual friends from like game night, and it's like somebody like Ward. That's somebody that we met through YouTube years ago, and then when we moved out here, we reconnected.
Right.
And then you think about Daniel, it's like, okay, he was our director on Commercial Kings. We were introduced through work, and then we just, we don't talk all the time, but we keep in touch.
Meaning that the scenario that we're talking about where you just meet at a party isn't how we really made any of our friends. It's like, it was a circumstance in which it was work related, and then we just had a connection where like, oh, this is deeper than just a work relationship. This is a friend. And then you just kind of lean into that.
And it's still hard.
Well, especially now.
Well, yeah, especially now. But like when you institutionalized the game night thing, that helped because every month there was
it shall happen again.
Even if you miss a couple, you kind of know you can get back in there. And there's a few other friends, but it's not like There's not that many.
You can only have so many friends. You know? Especially now when we've done a couple of like Zoom double date type things with a few of those friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we've done a couple of like triple dates with like us and the McCargs or whatever. And that was happening with more regularity at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
And now people are just kind of like, hey, we're just gonna, and it's funny, I know that
it's fizzled out.
It depends on what part of the country you're in and where you're at. You know, again, to continue the contrast with LA and North Carolina, but I know back in North Carolina, things are very different from, at least in terms of the way that my family is communicating to me about the way that their lives are different, but not that different. Whereas here in California, in Los Angeles especially, like things are still pretty much the same as they were 5 months ago. So we're not seeing, like if we're gonna see somebody like that, I'll be like, hey, let's all come over and hang out outside, but we haven't even done much of that.
Mm-mm. Because then it's like, okay, there's gonna be masks involved and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And you're in this place where you're just not that motivated to make things happen.
Well, and the thing, I think what I'm thinking right now is for someone who had just moved, and this is probably the situation for lots of people, if you just moved to a new place.
Oh, it's horrible.
In the midst of this, and you are the kind of person who is taking it seriously and, you know, trying to maintain social distancing and masks and stuff like that, your ability to make new friends is really impeded right now. Wow. Something else we haven't had to worry about. You know what? It'll be over at some point. That's all I can say. I can also ask another question. Autumn.
Hit this one right quick because I want to address this. We don't have to spend too much time on it.
Okay.
But Skylar Bradford has tweeted at Mythical, but this is for me. As a Utah resident, I can't get over how Link was saying Zion in your latest podcast. It cracked me up. It's Zion to the locals. That's been on my mind for a few days.
Zion. Zion.
We
like to hit the second syllable, man.
Yeah.
It is a little bit of a southern. Zion.
It's not always a second syllable because we would say unique, not unique.
That's true, yeah.
Unique.
We pick a syllable and we go hard.
Yeah, on the wrong one sometimes.
Taco
the reason
Bell.
why I say Zion is because in the Lauryn Hill song, she says Zion.
Yeah, Mount Zion.
Zion. Zion is just, that's a local thing, but Zion means a whole lot more, not just for Mormons. Zion's not just for Mormons anymore.
Well, you're saying that because it's in Utah.
Well, yeah, the Mormons named it Zion.
Right, but Zion is in the Bible as well.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying.
Which means it's probably in the Book of Mormon as well. I don't know. I don't know the full origin story. I know there's a lot of stuff from the Bible in the Book of Mormon though, right?
The Mormons named everything in the park.
Really?
Yeah. I think the indigenous peoples probably also had names for everything. Matter of fact, I know they did.
Right.
But you know, let's not get into that. Zion. I'll try, man. Skylar, I will try. For you, I will try. Zion.
Zion.
Not Zion.
You going to Zion?
Zion.
You going to Zion?
Zion.
Yeah, I'm on my way. I'm a local. Okay, science question that intrigued me. This is from Autumn7Autumn5 on Twitter. Why does warm water feel so much better than warm air? A really hot shower is awesome, but if I were in a 100-degree room, I'd be uncomfortable. It's a great question. So I looked up just to make sure that the way I was thinking about this, and I didn't have it, I didn't completely understand what was going on. I think a good place to start is let's start with a lower temperature. So if you're outside and it's 70 degrees is the approximate temperature at which a human feels comfortable in the air, right? If the air is 70 degrees, it's like most people feel pretty comfortable. Mm-hmm. And that is based on the idea that your body is doing all these different metabolic processes that is generating heat, and you're dissipating the heat through a number of processes like the blood flowing close to the surface of your skin, so you kind of give off a little bit of heat. You're breathing and there's hot air that's coming out of you, or you're sweating, you're perspiring, and so you're cooling yourself down,
and
right?
Don't forget the gold standard, farting.
Farting releases a lot of
Heat.
methane, as they say, across the pond, and heat. So it turns out that the reason you feel comfortable at 70 degrees
It's like a blowtorch down there.
Is because all these things that are happening in your body is in a good state of equilibrium.
Well,
at about
it's not
70 degrees.
It's actually cooling. There's a gradient,
Your
not
body,
an equilibrium.
Well, no, your body. Well, when I say equilibrium, I mean I'm talking about the process of you dissipating heat. Is it a place where your body is doing it most efficiently, and you're not having to do it too little or too much? You're not having to reserve the heat, and you're also not having to cool yourself down and make yourself uncomfortable. Like the body is.
I think what
doing
you're
this
saying
in the most
is
efficient manner.
The rate of cooling
is what makes you feel good.
Makes you feel good. Because if it gets cooler, if it gets down to 65, it starts to suck heat out of your body to a point where
now you got to put clothes on.
Okay, yeah,
now I got to do something to alter this.
I'm getting signals that I'm uncomfortable because this could lead to, if this continues forever,
I could die.
Or
if it gets too hot, it's like, oh, well, we really got to sweat. We got to breathe harder. And that makes you feel uncomfortable. But you know that if you're in ocean water that's 70 degrees, it's gonna be like, woo, that's cold. So what exactly is happening? And it all comes down to the heat transfer.
That's right. Why everything we said should apply to 70-degree water.
No, and it turns out that water feels perfect at 93.5 degrees. That is the
seriously?
That is the temperature that most sensory deprivation tanks are set at. They set at that temperature because your skin doesn't sense the presence of water because it's well, for whatever reason, you are basically in that same sort of state of equilibrium at 93.5 degrees in water. But of course, if it was 93.5 degrees outside, it would be hot. So what's happening is the heat transfer coefficient of water is 50 times greater than that of air. So basically what's happening is you got this body that's operating at 98.6 degrees on average and generating this heat, and it's releasing this heat. And as soon as you get into 70 degrees of water,
it's sucking out your heat
50 times as efficiently. And so that's why you immediately feel cold, and if you stayed in that 70-degree water for a good length of time, you get hypothermia. But let's go up to the question that was asked, which is 100 degrees. So here's the thing. If you get into a 100-degree hot tub, if it's 100 degrees outside, it ain't gonna feel good. You're gonna get in there and you're gonna be immediately hot. And usually what happens is you get into a 100-degree hot tub and it's like less than that outside. But what do? Do you get into a hot tub and go under and stay under? No, you get in and you're like, it's getting kind of hot. I gotta get my arms out. I gotta get my head out of the water. And so your arms and your head are dissipating heat into the ambient air, which is 70 degrees or whatever it happens to be outside. It's really nice when it's like 45 degrees outside and you just skied all day and you get into a hot tub and it's like snowing or something like that. That's great, right?
Remember when we did that?
Because your body is dissipating all that heat.
I do.
And you're kind of in that state of equilibrium, but you still get the benefit of this like hot, soothing water around your skin. So
the reason why warm water feels so much better than warm air is because of the coefficient.
Yeah. Because of the
50
the
times
transfer.
seems like a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. It's also like the heat transfer coefficient of metal is a lot higher than air. So that's why if it's 70 degrees and you wrap yourself in 70-degree like metal, it would feel cold to you, and it's because it's pulling that body heat out as well. I don't know how that compares to water, but yeah, the difference between water and air is the heat coefficient. But once you get up to 100 degrees, you're actually getting to a place that the water and the air are technically higher than your core body temperature at that point. So you're really you're trying to dissipate that heat all the time, but now you're dissipating it into an environment that is hotter than your own body temperature. So it really starts working hard. So when you're in a hot tub, even if you feel good, you're actually sweating quite a bit. There's a lot of sweat that's happening. There's a lot of blood flow that's happening in the parts of your body that are near the surface as well.
That's what makes it good for you.
I guess.
I would have thought, because water is more dense than air, that it would serve as more of an insulation, that it wouldn't.
Well,
it's like wearing a coat. What's the coefficient of a coat?
Well, I don't think that the insulation factor and the heat transfer is necessarily the same thing. Because if you were to put if you were to fill a wall, if there was a wall around you in your house, right now you fill it with insulation because that keeps the heat from going through it. So does that mean if the heat transfer coefficient of water is higher than air, if you put water in the walls of your house, assuming that was possible, that it would do a worse job of keeping you warm or cold?
Yes, I think it will, because
it seems to be
because
the
a
case.
vacuum is the best insulator.
That's why if you
Like in they'll put a vacuum sealed thermos,
right,
or like if you have like double pane windows, and they could they'll put argon in there, or I don't think they'll create a vacuum.
that's why you can get in
maybe.
a sauna and get it up to 200 degrees or whatever. You can get a sauna up to like 220 degrees, which is above a boiling water temperature.
But you cannot get in a hot tub that's over 104
you can't get into,
by law, I think.
Right, if you get into a 150 degree tub of water, you're gonna burn your skin. If you get into a 150 degree sauna, you're gonna be like, this isn't hot enough. I want it to be hotter.
Yeah, that's the proof right there. I know you're not full of bull crap. You want a wreck, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got a music rec for you. Now, I've already given you this music rec, so I'm giving this to everybody else. Have you gone back and listened to this? Because
I don't remember which one it is.
all right, fine, I'll give it to you again. Good old Willie Nelson has a son.
Yeah.
Lucas Nelson. Lucas with a K. And he has a band called Lucas Nelson and Promise of the Real. And I think
it's a great band name.
I think they're kind of a jam band kind of a situation. Promise of the Real definitely is the name of what should be a jam band, and I'm talking about like a Grateful Dead or a Fish.
Sounds a little Grateful Dead.
Promise of the Real, because it's got like, when you talk about what's real, it seems like something that would,
and the promise of it.
yeah, that you'd want to like really get in a jam band situation. By the way, you talk about famous country music singer sons. We connected with Merle's youngest son, and we got a record yesterday sent to us, and it was a Shooter Jennings record, and I was so excited to report to you what Jenna reported to me, and it was like, oh, there's 2 Shooter Jennings records here, and the only thing it came with was a Post-it note. In the Post-it note, it said, thanks for occupying us and giving us a lot of laughs on the road. - Shooter. Freaking Waylon Jennings' son, Shooter Jennings, he's an artist, producer, musician, mainstay in his own right. Freaking wrote us a note, said that he watches us and sent us his album.
So now we got to
cool.
So now we got to connect with Lucas.
We got to connect with Lucas Nelson, and you got to connect with Lucas. May not be happy that I'm recommending one of like the earliest songs that they put out. This is from 2014. I'm just obsessed with this song. It's called Find Yourself.
It's a good one.
It's off of the album called Sampler. It's 3 songs on it, so it's presented as a single from 2014 with a couple other songs. But the phrase, I said it on the show, you're a sweet peach, know your worth. That's basically the premise of that song. He's like, I'll let you listen to it, but the thing that hooked me was just the groove of this song. It's got a really good groove.
Yeah.
And then you got this, it's like, whoa, this is it sounds like freaking Willie Nelson singing, but a little bit different.
And he doesn't say sweet peach. He just implies it.
He doesn't have to say it. Know your worth. Know your worth, people. Check that one out. It's a good groove. If you don't like his vocals, because then you'll start to like him.
Yeah, then that's your problem.
That's your problem. So that's my rec.
Thank you for your questions. Keep sending them in. We'll keep answering them and talking about other stuff. Life in general. Hashtag Ear Biscuits.
You did good. Where you been? Looks like she woke up.
Just talking to a dog, for those of you listening, not me. He didn't just tell me I did a good job.
You did good, Red. Just like you just woke up. To watch more Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist on the right.
To watch the previous episode of Ear Biscuits, click on the playlist to the left.
And don't forget to click on the circular icon to subscribe.
If you prefer to listen to this podcast, it's available on all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for being your mythical best.